What's up, everybody? We have now entered into American Whiskey and Bourbon Month on Whiskey in the Six. Starting off American Whiskey Month, the month of August, 4 rows, single barrel, barrel proof. Alright, this one's 58.3%. It is 8 years, 8 months old, bottled December 2015. It's 35% rye mash bill. So a lot of the people that are following the 4-row single barrel strength want to know sometimes what the code is. This one is OBSQ. All right, you can have a look at it. And if you go to the site, you'll be able to find out a lot more information about this particular bottle based on that code, OBSQ. I'm gonna pour myself a dram and I'm gonna talk a little bit about this bourbon. So, 4 rows, this is the first 4 rows that I've reviewed. As you can tell, I've enjoyed this bottle. Funny thing about getting this bottle, they don't have the barrel proof in Ontario. That's where I'm located. This is Whiskey in the Six, the 6 being Toronto if you're new to this channel. I'm Rob, by the way. I'm not sure I said that. This bottle I picked up in Buffalo, and I claimed it as I was coming through the border because, well, a number of reasons. Number one, I'm an honest guy. I try to be. And number two, my brother's a customs agent, and I didn't want to take a risk with him in the car of him getting into trouble for a silly bottle. Not that I would have done it anyway, but I claimed it. They sent me into the office. I ended up paying double the cost of the bottle, which was $60 American because I got it for $10 off, and basically it cost me $70 Canadian on top of that. Maybe a little bit more. I can't remember the exact details right now, but it cost me a fortune. So sometimes because of this channel, I've received deals on stuff, opportunities that I wouldn't necessarily have gotten if I didn't have this channel, but sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. And this was one of those cases in particular. Thank goodness the whiskey is actually very good. So 58.3%. I'm gonna nose it and taste it neat, and I'm gonna tell you whether or not you need to add some water, but I brought some water just in case it's finicky with me tonight, but normally I don't add water to this one. I'm curious what amount of corn whiskey is in the mash bill. We know that it has to be at least 51% for it to be legally called a bourbon, but there could be much more. It's 35% rye, thus there's either a whole lot more corn whiskey or there's other grain whiskeys involved in this whiskey, which is very possible, whether it's malted barley or wheat. All right, we're talking about possibly 20 to 24%. Okay, really nice smell. I get a little bit of that rye spice. Some caramel corn. Some like buttered corn. Perhaps like a little bit of like a heathery note, grassy note. And that's definitely coming from the rye spice. Okay, on the palate, definitely has some heat, but very sweet, very full mouthfeel. Nice viscosity on this one. Finish keeps going. You can tell there's a really nice barbecue element to this one based on the char of the barrels. Really, really nice. For those of you who don't know bourbon rules, I know I've gone through it on my channel a few times, but has to be 51% corn whiskey in the mash bill. Has to be new American oak charred barrels, never used before, that hence the word new, and has to be aged in the United States for a minimum of 2 years. Now, there's a debate whether or not it has to be aged in Kentucky for it to be considered a bourbon. This one is from Kentucky. It's been around since 1888, so one of the older ones. But legally, it doesn't technically have to be from Kentucky to be considered a bourbon. Now, there's a whole bunch of people that will argue that and will hate me for saying that, but if you look at the rules, that's not necessarily the case. We'll be going through a bunch of different types of rules for this month. One of them being the difference between bourbon and Tennessee whiskey. That we'll talk about in likely my next review, or if not the next one, the one after. I do have this rare breed wild turkey lent to me by a friend, my buddy Mike. He lent me that one and the Booker's. All right, this one is March 2016 on the bottle, 64.5%. This one I'm really excited about. I'm excited about almost all of these bourbons, all these whiskeys. I love the Jack Daniel's barrel, the single barrels. I'm getting as a exchange, a trade with another friend. I'm getting a barrel proof, which I'm really, really excited about. I'll talk more about that when I do get it in my hands. But this is really good stuff. And the second sip is a lot more tame. Once your mouth is acclimated to that high alcohol percentage, you can handle it a lot more. But I'm gonna add a touch of water to open this up. Okay, you get the Whisky Fog in the glass, which is really cool. Definitely tells you that it's unchill filtered. Okay, and we know one of the rules for bourbon is it cannot be added color. The noses become a little sweeter, but you do get that grassy note as well a little bit more. Super sweet on the palate. That little bit of water dampens the astringency of the alcohol, so it's less dry, a little bit less burn. You don't need to add water to this one, but it does help. This one's a solid high A for me. I really, really like this bourbon. If you can buy a bottle, I highly recommend it. The only ones that are available in Ontario are the 50% single barrels. They're not barrel proof. Pretty close though at 50%, not far off, but I haven't tried those ones, and I know for sure you're getting a very good whiskey when you try this one. In case you wondered, this is bottle number 53-3Q, warehouse number LE. So I know these things matter when it comes to looking for this, and that gives you the full details of this bottle. Check out my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter if you haven't already. Okay, ask me questions. You can post comments below. You can ask me questions in the private messages on all of those different social media streams. I also have a Patreon you guys can check out if you want to help support this channel. I appreciate your help, and I appreciate your subscriptions and views. Cheers, guys.